Sharon Anderson, and I thank you, Honorable Bill Windsor, and my petition by and through Bill Windsor, lawlessamerica.com, to the President of the United States, Barack Obama, Mitt Romney, the Honorable Congress of the United States of America, all United States Attorney Generals, candidates, and the refusal to prosecute judicial malpractice. The main theme of Lawless America is to expose these corrupt judges issuing unpublished opinions that have become, they trigger death, disability, disparagement of titles. So everything that I have, the forensic evidence, is on the blogs all over the place. Here's my family heritage, the Peterson family tree. I come from a long line of reputable Swedes and the Minneapolis Flats. My mom was Slovak, Shergowski. And on the graves of my tenants in common, I will remain forever persistent in my pursuit of justice. In 1974, we petitioned the United States Supreme Court because 5 non-lawyers, of course I was the only woman, we ran for the job of Supreme Court Justice. They say, oh no, you've got to be licensed in law. Well, I'd rather go with Lawless America than be under the franchise of the license of corrupt lawyers, attorney generals, acting in consort with corrupt judges. So the main thing is, like in 1994, I was the IR candidate for state attorney general. I'm going to give this to you. This was Skip Humphrey and the criminal abuse of power. And that they have it. Lewis DuPont ran for state attorney general as a DFLer. I became the Republican nominee based upon his extensive research into Minnesota corruption, primarily in the banking area. And that's for you, Bill Windsor. Another good friend, always cheat. I don't know if Leslie Davis would be here right now, but this book is for you, incorporated, and everything's on the internet. These Congress people better start to realize the judicial corruption that has triggered death, disability, disparagement of title, to break up the family. All right, my 3-minute summary, which I have everything in links to all state and federal judges. I have the permission to copy, and you have to click into the internet, and every congressperson, every judge, which they were all notified today, they better have their computer in front of them because they can click into the links. The forensic evidence that I have is extensive. So then my summary of testimony, I'm hooked on a feeling. So I have to do hooked on a feeling. And then we're going to give these judges, we're going to give them the boot. Okay? Hooked on a feeling. All right, I'm hooked on a feeling of the fundamentals of law, family, friends, and on the graves of my tenants in common, my parents. They never had a quiet title. I'm kicked out of my home on Summit Avenue. Both my second husband and I were on disability by a lesbian judge that to this day, 20-some years ago, must be held accountable. And on my second husband, Jim, Silver Star Marine, Semper Fi, Jimmy, he's buried over here at Arlington. All my animals, and recently Sharon's Rottweiler, Maddie. So hooked on a feeling, it looked like a Rottweiler, looked like my Maddie. Okay, another situation, we are outsourcing our medical records to France. Now all these judges issuing commitment orders to quiet or dumb you down, and I was thrown in St. Peter's State Hospital under a Rule 20 because I was running for state attorney general at the time. They tried to force shock treatments on me. They forced Depakote on me to try to kill me, to shut me up. I'm outliving them all, and I'm not shutting up. All right, my mission is to abolish the state court commitment panel, chaired by lesbian judges Joanna Smith, Kathleen Garan, and Judge Greg Johnson, who his wife right now is the head of the Met Council. And they are all elected without opposition or public disclosure. If people knew, now I'm a straight person, I don't care if gays want to get married or whatever they want to do. That's the 14th Amendment, they can do whatever they damn well please. Pardon me, I shouldn't swear, darn well please. But when they use their position of judicial power to destroy a family unit and exploit my husband's illness because he served in the Korean War, he fell and hit his head on the shower, whatever. He had heavy post-traumatic stress disorder, and then were kicked out of my home on Summit Avenue, which was paid for, saying I didn't pay the property taxes. And this is what the Ponzi scheme of the city of St. Paul is doing. They are taxing you on a non-homesteaded basis. They shut your water off. They'd happened to me to try to condemn your house and take it. I've been reduced to poverty, but sometimes it's very humbling to be poor because they can't take anything else from me. Okay, my fight began 45 years ago. I'm sorry to point the finger at you, Bill Windsor, but thank you for exposing this. 45 years ago, it began with the State Attorney General, Warren Spanis, who was a backyard neighbor of my first husband, taking my daughter, my baby girl Vanessa, from a great home. We gave her ice skating lessons, but I didn't know that one phone call could wreck your entire life. So Vanessa recently, she's 52. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm ageless. Vanessa recently found me on Facebook. All right. So legal notice is given to all the United States Attorney General in their heinous abuse of parens patriae. Am I saying that right, Bill? Anyhow, it means that triggering maybe the 1,000 people coming forward to testify to the Honorable Bill Windsor, lawlessamerica.com, to testify to Congress on judicial malpractice, tyranny, judicial tyranny. We have misprision of treason. These judges are treasonable. And the state attorney and U.S. attorney do nothing at all about it. All right, these judges to steal, condemn private property via unpublished opinions, manipulating elections, and this time I'm, as a Republican, I'm on for Minnesota State Senate 64, and of course, my opponent, Dick Cohen, I ran against him from Brainerd State Hospital in 1996. I'll tell you, what goes around comes around, and I'm coming around. And when you get to my age and having lost everything, now let's make these judges accountable. So anyhow, for judicial greed, heinous repugnant abuses by the courts in the commitment process, because I was a victim of a commitment. My husband spent 1 year at Brainerd State Hospital, and that triggered his murder. And this was all because I had 13 pieces of real estate that had been covertly taken from me under color of that lesbian judge, Joanna Smith. And I have this all published. It's all out on the blog. The only better blogger than me is Don Meshek. Check out his blogs and websites. They're excellent. Anyhow, it's chaired, the SCAT panel is chaired by the lesbian judge, Joanna Smith. It's repugnant to the taxpaying public, the marriage amendment titles at all. So, and it did trigger the murder and commitment of Sharon's second husband. So then I have a whistleblower. I've got all these links. And if you, I hope every congressman, every lawyer, every judge, which they were all notified today, check out the website. Check out the links. Under penalties of perjury. I will never stop. The forensic files are out there. So then we go, the definition of parens patriae, because the government becomes your parent. Well, Minnesota's a nanny state. We don't need a nanny state anymore. We're a sanctuary state. It's just unbelievable what's going on. And then it was notified to all the current attorney generals and a directory of all the judges. So then I did the little website, Hooked on a Feeling, and further affiance saith not at this time except a 3-minute video. This video must indict judicial corruption. And then we've got links and then my signature. So with that, God bless you. One other thing I will say, to save my husband's life, I filed a lawsuit to get my one friend, Willie Lufsky, lufsky.blogspot.com. He's been in the commitment process for 25 years, costing the taxpayers a fortune. So I tied it in the United States Court of Appeals to save my husband's life. And the judges, they ignore it. They just don't. But now with the internet, with published documents, with books, I've got evidence from 40 years ago. And it has to come to fruition. We've got to make government accountable. And when these judges use the commitment process to further their own greed, to destroy a person, and then they dumb you down with drugs, and then like the previous gal, she said they pulled a Rule 20 on her, and then the psychological evaluation, they said, well, you're not competent to go to court. This has got to be exposed, and I will expose it. So with that, God bless you, Bill Windsor, and I think the internet will speak for itself. I don't know if I'm missing anything. I've got a lot out here. Oh, by the way, now they're trying to even take another piece of property. Let's see, and this was the notification that I had all this money in the bank, and I acquired everything before coverture, which my first husband, he took my daughter, but there was no money or nothing involved. But to be denied the right to see your family for 50 years? I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I was not unfit. I gave her ice skating lessons. My mother took care of her. But because of the corrupt Attorney General, Warren Spanis, at that time, I didn't know that a telephone call could wreck your entire life. And then I became a real estate entrepreneur, and I invested and bought and sold and bought and this and that. So, but when I ran for judge in 1974, August 13th, what is today? Today's August 7th. So 74, 84, 94, 204, how many years are we going back? That's when they started. And then my home on Summit Avenue, I incorporated into the Church of Justice Reform. That's when it started. Apparently, I became a threat to these judges. So then they threw me in St. Peter, and my husband, hardcore alcoholic, he didn't mean to do what he did, but the system exploited his illness. They served me divorce papers in St. Peter's State Hospital while my husband was drunk, and that was another lesbian city attorney. I'm telling you. And the first time I'm thrown in jail was a gay guy by the name of Alberto Maira. I mean, do you understand why me as a straight person, I don't care what these gays and lesbians do, but when they become in a position of power as a judge, and they are not held accountable to the taxpayers or the voting public, this has got to be exposed. And I expose it by running for office. I really don't want to win, but it's more fun getting there than being there. And with that, ooga chaka, I'm hooked on a feeling. And if you can't find humor in life, you know, we'll get them. Okay? Love you, Billy Windsor, and God bless you, and thank you so much.